Hey guys, welcome back to Grafting Dragon Fruit. It's Richard. In this video today, we're going to be talking about what my top 5 dragon fruit varieties are and why they are my top 5. Are you guys ready? Let's start. In order for these dragon fruit varieties to make it to my top 5 list, they gotta have these qualities. Number 1, they gotta be self-fertile. And what I mean by self-fertile is that you can use its own pollen to pollinate it and set fruit without it aborting. Number 2, they have to have high yield productivity to fruit. And number 3, they gotta taste good. That is the main reason we grow dragon fruit. We wanna make sure they taste good. First one on my list is American Beauty. Why is American Beauty my first one on my list? The main reason is it is self-fertile and self-pollinating. So you guys heard of the terminology self-fertile, and what self-fertile means is its own pollen works with each other. And the second terminology is self-pollinating. What that means is once the flower blooms, you're gonna see the anatomy part of the stigma and the anthers, and that's where the pollen and the ovaries are. They sometimes can be so close to each other that once the flower blooms, all of those parts just touch each other and they self-pollinate itself with its self-fertile pollen, and it creates a fruit without you having to go out there to pollinate. So that's why it's number 1. And another reason is this fruit is so tasty, you guys. It takes about 35 to 40 days for American Beauty's fruit to ripen, and once they ripen, they get nice, big, and round, and their fruit gets nice and huge, and the flavor of it is like eating berries and raspberries that's super duper sweet like candy, and I always like to call them nature's candy. So that's why American Beauty is my number 1 on the list. My second top dragon fruit variety is Sugar Dragon. And Sugar Dragon, I know they have small fruits, but the work and effort to grow them is totally worth it, you guys, because the fruit tastes absolutely amazing. This one truly sounds just like its name, Sugar Dragon. It is just so sweet, and once you have one, it's never enough. And let me tell you guys why it is my second top favorite. So Sugar Dragon, even though it is a self-fertile variety, it is not self-pollinating. So I explained to you guys about American Beauty being self-fertile and self-pollinating, so that's why they are my number 1. Even though this one is not self-pollinating, I still think it's worth it to grow, and that's why it's on my number 2 on my list. It's because these fruits, you can get so many of them. This is an example of a high productivity yielding dragon fruit. As you can see, I had my first wave already. The fruits are ripening here. So you see my first wave. These are my second wave of fruits that's barely starting to ripen. And this is how I take off the flower after it sets. And I hand pollinated this, so that's why it's set into a fruit. And how we have a third wave. You can see all of these new buds here. They're starting to have a third wave. So within a matter of 2 months, I already got 3 waves of fruit from my Sugar Dragon. So very high productivity yielding fruit plants here, and they taste so good. So the only thing that makes it maybe a little unattractive to some people is, I told you guys you have to hand pollinate it. So once this flower blooms, you're gonna have to take its pollen. So let's open this flower actually so I can show you guys what I mean. So even though the flower bloom, as you guys can see, these anthers are so far away from the stigma. Even after they close up, you can see it doesn't touch the stigma, so they're never gonna fertilize into a fruit. So what you're gonna have to do is, you're gonna have to take these pollen and you're gonna come out at night and you're gonna go ahead and hand pollinate it. You can use a brush. Sometimes I just use a brush. I brush it off and put it on, or you can just do like how I just did here. I take these anthers and then I just dab it right onto here. But of course you're gonna do this when the flower is fresh and bloom. And I'm just showing you guys an example here. And you're gonna see that there's still pollen on my finger. If you guys see all that yellow dust there, that's pollen. So you technically can just do that once the flower blooms. So that's a Sugar Dragon and why it's my second favorite. Number 3 on my list is Pink Panther. And if you guys already don't know, Pink Panther is actually the sister of Sugar Dragon, and the only difference is Sugar Dragon is red flesh and Pink Panther, just like its name, is pink flesh. So This one is also a self-fertile variety, so that's why it made the list. But the only thing is, just like Sugar Dragon, you need to hand pollinate it with its own pollen. Like how I showed you guys with Sugar Dragon, the anemone parts are just way too far for it to set its fruit. So that's where you're gonna be the nighttime bee, come out here, collect its pollen, and hand pollinate it. And the number one reason why I love this variety so much is because the fruit of the flesh tastes like crystallized sugar, you guys. And you guys don't even have to try to get it to be that sweet. You can literally just grow this in a pot, water it, and not even fertilize it, and they'll still be super duper sweet. And that is why I love Pink Panther so much. It's like biting into crystallized sugar, but with all of that complex dragon fruit flavor in it. And as you guys can see, it is also a very, very productive dragon fruit variety. There is Pink Panther fruits everywhere that I've been hand pollinating, and you can see the flowers finally dried up. And now we can remove it because the pollination cycle was successful, and we're left with Pink Panther fruits. So in about 45 to 55 days, these will ripen up, turn bright red, and once you cut right into it, it's gonna be a nice pink flesh. And number 4 is Sour Patch Kids, and just like its name, you guys, it tastes just like candy. Sour Patch Kids has this complexity of tartness and sweetness in one. So once you bite into it, there's this tart, the sharp tart that just hits your palates right away. But as you chew onto it and the juices starts to gush all over your palate, it starts to taste really, really sweet. And that is why I love it so much. And most importantly, it is self-fertile and self-pollinating. But sometimes I've noticed with the Sour Patch Kids, some of the flowers would have it very close where they can self-pollinate each other, and sometimes they're just a little bit out, a little too much, where you're gonna have to come out and hand pollinate it. But this one is such a good tasting variety that is my number 4. Last but not least, number 5 is Condor. So Condor has always been my favorite, and because it was one of my very few first dragon fruits that I started to grow. And if you guys check out the fruit, just look at how perfectly round it is, and it looks perfect. But as you guys may already know, it is self-fertile and self-pollinating as well. Unlike Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther, the Condor can actually pollinate itself. And if you guys are looking for that variety that has that super duper complex dragon fruit flavor in it, Condor has that. It's just way different from all of the other dragon fruits that I've tasted. Even though all of the other ones are really, really good, something about Condor just gives it that sharp edge of complexity to it, and it just tastes so good. And they're super easy to grow. The only thing that I've noticed about it, it doesn't like too much sun, so that's why I have it in an area that has a little bit more shade. I even have shade cloth to protect it from the hot sun during the day. And as you can see, some sun scalding has happening, but ever since I provided shade for it, you guys look at all the new growth. They're nice, healthy, and green again. And now I'm starting to see buds pop all over, and I'm so excited because this variety is so good. And what makes me really like growing this variety is because my daughter Riley loves this variety. I can give her this whole fruit. She's 2 years old, and she'll annihilate the whole fruit and not leave any for myself. And that's totally okay because it makes me so happy when I watch my daughter eat dragon fruit. It makes her happy. It's the best feeling ever. And I'm pretty sure that's why you guys are looking for the top 5 varieties, so that way you can impress your family, your kids, and all of your friends. So those are my all-time top 5 varieties that's easy to grow for everyone, especially for beginners. So if you're just barely starting your dragon fruit journey, those are the top 5 varieties that I would recommend. And if you guys want to know my top 5 sterile varieties, leave it in the comments below, and I'll make that video coming up real soon. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, hit that like button. Have any questions, leave it in the comments below. If you guys want to see more grafting and dragon fruit videos, hit that subscribe button so that way you guys won't miss a single thing. Have a nice day now. Bye guys.